In the gleaming tower of glass and steel where the offices of a major corporation stood, power and ambition were on full display. At the pinnacle of this world sat the female CEO, charismatic, sharp, commanding. She had fought her way up through boardroom battles, expectations and dismissals, until she unwaveringly claimed her place at the top. The corridor lights reflected off her tailored suits, her gold watch, her decisive stride. And yet, beneath that confident exterior, there was a vulnerability she believed no one could see. Enter the janitor. Quiet. Invisible. Unassuming. He walked the corridors when the high heels and heels of executives were gone for the night. A man whose presence was seldom noticed, his uniform modest, his swept floors and empty trash bins taken for granted. The world above saw the CEO. The world below rarely recognized the janitor. And that was exactly how it was meant to be. One evening, one ordinary evening, the CEO found herself in a place she never expected, grounded, vulnerable, afraid. Something had gone terribly wrong. A catastrophic misstep at home, a betrayal, a fall, whatever the trigger, she could not walk. Her legs had failed her. The bright lights of the office, the applause of the boardroom, the admiration of colleagues, none of it mattered now. In this moment, she was weak. In this moment, the power she wielded meant nothing. She was on the floor, tears in her eyes, begging, "Please, don't hurt me. I can't walk." What happened next changed everything. Because the janitor revealed his secret. As the story unfolded, we learn of the overlooked humanity in this steely corporate world. The janitor, let's call him Eli, was more than a sweeper of floors. He had a history, a hidden past, a strength no one suspected. While the CEO was accustomed to giving orders, Eli had learned the meaning of service, sacrifice, and quiet dignity. While she made decisions that shaped corporations, he made decisions that shaped lives, though no one noticed. That night, as she lay defenseless, the CEO reached for help. But in the sterile halls of power, help rarely comes easily. Staff hesitated. The flashing lights in the hallway seemed too bright, the silence too loud. And yet in that moment of crisis, it wasn't the glamorous assistant or the executive security detail who acted. It was the janitor. Eli knelt beside her. He took her hand. Not as an underling to a boss, not as a subordinate to a superior, but as a human to a human. In that vulnerable state, the CEO realized how much she had concealed, from others, and from herself. She had always believed strength meant never showing fear. She had always believed success meant standing tall. And now, she couldn't. She needed help. And she found it in the strangest of places, the lowliest corridors of her own company. Eli gently supported her. He whispered words she never expected from someone whose job was to clean up after others. "I won't hurt you," he said. "I'll help you." And with that, the dynamic shifted. The CEO who once commanded left the boardroom behind and experienced the world from a different vantage point. Dependency, humility, revealed fear. As the janitor moved her gently, as he carried her weight not just physically but emotionally, the secret he had been hiding came out. It wasn't a dramatic criminal past or a hidden fortune. It was an identity forged in struggle, compassion, and a quiet purpose. He had spent years caring for his younger sister, who had a disability, while working these late hours. He had saved every extra dollar, scrimped on food, refused overtime pay so he could pay for her treatment. He had learned to move when no one was watching, to serve when no one acknowledged, to sacrifice when no one applauded. And in that moment, as the CEO's world tilted, he revealed all of it, not with fanfare, not with demands, but with a calmness that took her by surprise. He said, "I've walked when no one saw me. I've carried burdens when no one asked. And tonight I'll help when you cannot walk yourself." Suddenly, the power hierarchy collapsed. The boss and servant roles evaporated. Two humans existed in the hallway. Only one had formal authority. Yet the one with the mop held a moral weight the CEO had never encountered. She had been strong in boardrooms, but she'd never known what it meant to be truly vulnerable. He had no title, but he had a heart that cared without asking recognition. In the days that followed, the company buzzed with rumors. What had happened to the CEO? Why had the janitor been at her side? Who saw? Who didn't? But for the CEO, the internal transformation was far deeper. She learned what it meant to ask for help. To trust someone without expecting them to praise you. She learned that greatness can look like a janitor's humility and that leadership isn't only about giving orders, it can be about accepting aid, showing compassion, being human. The janitor's secret wasn't secret because it was shameful, it was secret because it was invisible. He had been invisible. Cleaned floors, collected trash, answered odd jobs. But all along he carried love, for his sister, for unseen burdens, for the dignity of labor. And when the CEO begged in fear and weakness, he carried her too. Not just her body, but her dignity, her pride, her fear, her humanity. And what did the CEO do in response? She didn't demand his resume. She didn't call a board meeting to laud him. She simply stared at him differently. She thanked him, not with a corporate check, not with a press release, but with a look of recognition. She realized that she had expanded her definition of value. She realized that titles meant less than human connection. She realized that the real secret was compassion, offered when no one was looking. There is a message here for all of us who chase promotions, status, recognition. That evergreen office space, the leather-bound chair, the crisp business card, they can feel powerful. But power can vanish in a moment. The floor can slip. The chair can tilt. And in that moment, you might need someone who cleans up after you, literally or figuratively. Someone you might have overlooked. Someone whose secret strength you never considered. Perhaps the most profound aspect of this story is not the CEO's fall but the janitor's rise, in moral stature, in human worth. Because when the CEO begged, "I can't walk," she revealed a vulnerability that made her human. And when the janitor revealed his secret, he revealed greatness that made her human again. In that corridor, shining harsh lights, echoing footsteps and unsung shadows, two worlds collided, the world of power, and the world of service. The janitor didn't ask for a promotion. He didn't ask for luxury. He asked for nothing. He simply showed up. And in doing so, he changed everything. From then onward, the CEO held meetings differently. She walked into rooms and saw not just titles but people. She passed the janitor's closet, the broom closet, and she didn't avert her gaze. She nodded. Recognized. And valued the human who had lifted her when she couldn't stand. The company's culture began to shift, quietly. The cleaning staff were greeted with acknowledgement. The late-night custodial workers, once unseen, were thanked. The CEO shared her story with the board, not to sensationalize, but to humanize. She said, "We are all vulnerable. We are all capable of lifting one another." And the janitor? He continued his work. He never asked for a raise. He never sought recognition. But he knew the CEO now saw him. He held his head a little higher. He knew his work mattered. And when the CEO walked again, she walked with a new awareness, of fragility, of support, of the unseen strength in everyday service. This story resonates because it flips the script. It reminds us that heroism doesn't always wear a cape. Sometimes heroism wears a janitor's uniform, sometimes it stands when no one watches. It reminds us that vulnerability isn't weakness, it is what connects us. And it reminds us that power is at its most meaningful when it bows, when it serves, when it recognizes something larger than itself. So the next time you sit at the top, commanding, confident, sure, pause. Look at the people who walk behind the scenes. The ones you don't notice. The ones whose hands clean up the mess you didn't make but still live in. The ones who serve while you succeed. Because you may never know when you'll be the one who needs help. And they may be the one who gives it with no expectation of reward. And when that moment comes, you'll find that the greatest power lies not in standing tall alone, but in letting someone lift you when you can't stand at all.